The 90s gave us grunge, boy bands, and some of the most iconic video games of all time. From consoles to arcades, we're breaking down every game that defined the decade. Super Double Dragon. Super Double Dragon brought Billy and Jimmy Lee back for one of the SNES era's most stylish brawlers. Unlike its arcade predecessors, this was built purely for home play, leaning into slower and more methodical combat. A guard button, parries, and the dragon power gauge added depth, letting players pull off hurricane kicks or unleash powered-up strikes. Levels ranged from casinos to airports to fights atop moving trucks, giving the action cinematic flair. While missing the polish of cutscenes and story, its mix of blocking, grappling, and martial arts variety set it apart, making it a cult favorite in beat-em-up history. Dr. Mario. Nintendo put a lab coat on its mascot and created one of the most addictive puzzle games of the 90s. Dr. Mario swaps platforming for color-matching capsules, letting players wipe out viruses with Tetris-like precision. Its deceptively simple mechanics reward foresight, combos, and chain reactions, especially in the competitive two-player mode. Selling over 10 million copies, it proved Mario could succeed outside platformers while establishing Nintendo as a force in the puzzle genre. Add in the endlessly catching fever theme, and Dr. Mario became a cultural touchstone, equal parts frustrating, satisfying, and impossible to put down. System Shock 2. Few games in the late 90s managed to blend horror, role-playing, and first-person shooting the way System Shock 2 did. Set aboard the doomed starship Von Braun, it strands you in isolation with dwindling ammo, parasitic monsters, and one unforgettable villain, Shodan, the rogue AI who manipulates you at every step. It wasn't a sales hit at launch, but its influence echoes through modern classics like BioShock, Dead Space, and Prey. With deep character customization, eerie sound design, and that creeping sense of paranoia, System Shock 2 proved survival horror could be as cerebral as it was terrifying. Myst. Myst was not about blasting aliens or chasing high scores. It dropped you on a mysterious island and told you nothing. Armed only with curiosity, you explored eerie landscapes, solved puzzles baked into the environment, and traveled through ages using magical books. Its quiet, contemplative style was the polar opposite of 90s arcade chaos, yet it sold over 6 million copies and basically made CD-ROMs cool all on its own. Critics called it art, players called it confusing, and both were right. Myst proved that games could be immersive, mysterious, and strangely beautiful, while also leaving you stuck staring at gears for hours. Donkey Kong Country. In 1994, Rare took a dormant arcade gorilla, strapped him into a red tie, and delivered a platforming masterpiece that made the SNES look like it could wrestle the PlayStation. With its pre-rendered 3D visuals, buttery smooth platforming, and David Wise's iconic soundtrack, Donkey Kong Country wasn't just a game, it was a flex. Players bounced between jungles, mines, and underwater reefs, swapping between the powerhouse Donkey and the speedy Diddy, all while chasing bananas and dodging Kremlings. 9 million copies later, DK was not just back, he was the king of the jungle once again. Age of Empires 2. Age of Empires 2 is kinda like history class, but way more fun and with catapults. Released in 1999, this real-time strategy classic let players guide one of 13 civilizations from the Dark Age to the Imperial Age, turning humble berry pickers into castle-crushing armies. Whether you marched with Joan of Arc or Genghis Khan, campaigns gave you a taste of epic historical battles, while multiplayer brought the chaos of rush or be rushed. Its mix of resource juggling, town building, and trebuchet flinging made it timeless, and with definitive editions still thriving, it's the RTS that just refuses to retire. Silent Hill. System Shock 2 gave us creepy parasites, but Silent Hill gave us full-on nightmares. Konami's 1999 cult classic follows Harry Mason, an ordinary dad searching for his missing daughter in a fog-choked town that keeps flipping into a blood-soaked otherworld. Instead of action hero bravado, Harry stumbles, panics, and fumbles his aim, making every encounter feel terrifyingly human. Team Silent leaned into PlayStation hardware limits with thick fog and darkness, which accidentally became its most iconic feature. With branching endings, cults, monsters, and a UFO gag ending, Silent Hill proved horror could be psychological, surreal, and hauntingly ambiguous. RollerCoaster Tycoon. Chris Sawyer's RollerCoaster Tycoon in 1999 turned the dream of running a theme park into an addictive reality. Players were not just placing rides, they were juggling budgets, cleaning up vomit, and trying to keep guests happy while building coasters that didn't instantly kill them. Or did. What made it shine was the freedom. Every ride could be tweaked, landscaped, and painted into your own chaotic masterpiece. Watching guests scream with joy or hurl in disgust was half the fun. Built almost entirely in assembly code by Sawyer himself, it was a labor of love that became a PC juggernaut, proving that management sims could be wildly entertaining. Fallout. Released in 1997 by Interplay, Fallout, a post-nuclear role-playing game, dropped players into a bleak yet retro-futuristic wasteland shaped by nuclear war. As the Vault Dweller, players had 150 days to find a water chip and eventually confront the terrifying super mutant master. Built on the Special system after licensing disputes with GURPS, the game emphasized moral ambiguity, open-ended exploration, and turn-based combat. Its dark humor, 1950s-inspired aesthetic, and unforgettable line, "War never changes," cemented it as a landmark RPG. Acclaimed at launch, Fallout revived the genre and spawned one of gaming's most enduring franchises. Resident Evil. Capcom's Resident Evil didn't just launch a franchise. In 1996, it basically invented survival horror. Players stepped into the Spencer Mansion as Chris Redfield or Jill Valentine, navigating creepy halls, solving puzzles, and desperately conserving ammo against zombies and mutant nightmares. The tank controls and fixed camera angles made every encounter feel tense, while the mansion itself became an iconic death trap. Cheesy dialogue aside, you were almost a Jill sandwich. The game terrified players and sold millions, reviving zombie horror in pop culture. Resident Evil proved limited resources and relentless dread could be just as thrilling as action, and maybe more. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Before 1999, skateboarding games were clunky gimmicks. Then, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater landed a 900 right into pop culture. Neversoft nailed the formula. Tight controls, huge combos, and 2-minute sessions that made every trick a high-stakes gamble. Add in real pros like Hawk, Muska, and Steamer, plus a punk rock soundtrack that defined an era, and it was pure adrenaline on a disc. Critics raved, players obsessed, and skateboarding went mainstream overnight. With sequels, remakes, and a cultural legacy bigger than Hawk's own halfpipe, the game proved one truth. Sometimes the coolest thing you can do is just grind a rail forever. Have we hit your favorite yet? Don't worry, we've only scratched the surface. Spyro the Dragon. In 1998, Spyro crash-landed onto the PlayStation, a purple dragon with attitude and a dragonfly buddy named Sparks. Tasked with freeing crystallized dragons and reclaiming stolen gems from the gnarly, nasty Nork, Spyro combined fire-breathing, head-charging, and mid-air gliding across open-ended, cartoonish worlds. With vibrant colors, jazzy Stuart Copeland tunes, and a dynamic rendering engine, the game made exploration feel effortless and fun, even if the difficulty was kid-friendly. Collectibles were everywhere, bosses were easy, and the sheep? Yeah, they got torched. Spyro quickly became a mascot alongside Crash Bandicoot, spawning sequels and, decades later, the reignited trilogy. Simple, whimsical, and endlessly playable. Spyro proved that sometimes being small, purple, and fiery is all you need to leave a lasting mark. Banjo-Kazooie. Banjo-Kazooie is the 1998 N64 classic where a chill bear and a sass-talking bird go on a quest to save Banjo's sister Tootie from a glow-up-obsessed witch named Gruntilda. Players bounce through 9 wacky 3D worlds, collecting jiggies and musical notes, solving puzzles, and beating bosses with moves that range from totally normal to how is this even legal? Originally a cancelled SNES RPG, Rare turned it into a platformer that practically screams Super Mario 64 who? With killer music, hilarious mumbling voices, and a duo that's more chaotic than helpful, it became an instant N64 legend. StarCraft. StarCraft is basically Blizzard's intergalactic chess match where humans, bug aliens, and space samurai throw down across the Kaprulu sector. Released in '98, it pits the adaptable Terrans, swarmy Zerg, and psionic Protoss against each other in a mix of strategy, betrayal, and epic explosions. You harvest minerals, collect more Vespene gas, build armies, and pray your nukes land just right while Kerrigan evolves into a space Medusa mid-game. Multiplayer blew up in South Korea, making pro gamers into celebrities, and the story? Total space opera chaos with rebellion, cosmic gods, and everyone backstabbing everyone else. StarCraft is not just a game, it's the galactic soap opera with laser guns we never knew we needed. Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider hit in '96, dropping Lara Croft into ancient tombs like some 3D Indiana Jones meets Tank Girl fever dream. You're jumping gaps, dodging traps, and blasting everything that moves while hunting pieces of the mystical Scion of Atlantis. Toby Gard cooked up Lara, and she exploded into a pop culture icon, pistols blazing and all. The game's 3D levels, puzzles, and cinematic camera shook up action-adventure forever, selling 7 million copies and spawning sequels, remasters, movies, and of course, fan obsession. Basically, it didn't just put Lara on the map, it cemented her as the digital adventurer everyone secretly wanted to be. Or just wanted. Sonic the Hedgehog. If the first Sonic was Sega flexing, Sonic 2 was straight up dunking on Nintendo. Dropping in 1992 with a $10 million ad blitz and the legendary Sonic Tuesday, it introduced Tails, the adorable sidekick who either helps you or faceplants into every spike. This sequel doubled the speed, added bigger levels, split-screen races, and even birthed the Spin Dash. Critics lost their minds over it. Sales hit $450 million, and Sonic officially became Sega's golden boy of the console wars. Basically, Sonic 2 didn't just level up the franchise, it turned a blue hedgehog into a 90s cultural icon. Lemmings. Lemmings in 1991 transformed the innocent act of walking into a chaotic puzzle nightmare. Players guided tiny green-haired creatures through deadly obstacles, assigning skills like builders, bombers, and blockers to save as many as possible, or watch them plunge into lava. It was equal parts strategy, timing, and sadistic glee as you micromanaged tiny lives in real time. Developed by DMA Design, its clever level design, split-screen two-player mode, and endless ports made it iconic. Lemmings proved that even the simplest characters could inspire complex problem-solving, frustration, and that irresistible urge to save or gleefully nuke every last one. Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Castlevania Symphony of the Night in 1997 turned the series upside down. Literally, playing as Alucard, Dracula's brooding Dhampir son, you explored a massive castle, collect powers, and fight creepy bosses, eventually unlocking the inverted castle for double the chaos. Mixing RPG elements, exploration, and classic whipless combat, it defined the Metroidvania genre. Initially overlooked, it grew into a cult hit, praised for its gothic art, haunting soundtrack, and clever level design. Symphony of the Night proves that 2D games can still feel epic, and that wandering a castle for hours never really gets old, especially if you happen to be undead. Metal Gear Solid. In 1998, Metal Gear Solid became the game that made stealth cool, cinematic, and weirdly emotional. You play Solid Snake, sneaking through a nuclear facility to stop Foxhound's nukes, facing Liquid Snake, psychic killers, and, using the last word in stealth technology, a cardboard box. Kojima's obsession with realism and cinematic flair gave us sneaky corridors, dramatic cutscenes, and boss fights that feel like action movies. Gadgets, radar, and sneaking under vents make stealth satisfying, while twists like Fox Die, twin clones, and a cyborg ninja keep you guessing. Iconic, tense, and bizarrely stylish, MGS defined modern stealth gameplay, and proved that even on the PlayStation 1, video games could be full-blown cinematic spectacles. Super Mario 64. Super Mario 64 was a 3D revolution. Bowser kidnaps Peach and scatters Power Stars across magical paintings, and it's up to Mario to run, jump, triple jump, fly, and occasionally wrestle the camera to save her. Miyamoto's team obsessively crafted expressive animations, dynamic controls, and clever puzzles, making Peach's castle feel alive. Critics loved its freedom, visuals, and inventive gameplay, though the camera sometimes went rogue. With over 12 million copies sold, countless mods, and a cult following, Super Mario 64 is not just a game, it's a blueprint for all 3D adventure games to come. GoldenEye 007. GoldenEye 007 was the game that proved shooters could thrive on consoles. Released in 1997, Rare's N64 masterpiece combines stealth, gadgets, and perfectly chaotic multiplayer into a package that outshone the very film it adapted. Suddenly, split-screen deathmatches were not just a feature, they were a rite of passage. It didn't matter if you picked Oddjob, you cheater, or The Clob, you masochist. GoldenEye set the gold standard. Critics did not just love it, they declared it era-defining. Few games can claim to have rewritten an entire genre, but GoldenEye wears that license to kill proudly. Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy VII was not just a JRPG, it was the JRPG. In 1997, Cloud Strife's spiky hair and oversized sword carved their way into pop culture, dragging Japanese role-playing games into the global mainstream. We weren't just mashing attack, You were fighting for the literal soul of the planet, unraveling Cloud's messy identity crisis and crying over that scene with Aerith. The Materia system made you feel like a wizard with spreadsheets, while limit breaks let you turn pain into payback. And Sephiroth? He wasn't a villain, he was a cultural event. This was not a game, it was a generational awakening. Speaking of, Half-Life. Half-Life did not just reinvent the first-person shooter, it redefined what storytelling in games could even be. Playing as Gordon Freeman, the world's quietest scientist with the world's loudest crowbar, you fought your way out of Black Mesa after science gone wrong ripped open portals to alien hell. No cutscenes, no hand-holding, just you, scripted chaos, and headcrabs launching themselves at your face. Its blend of puzzles, combat, and environmental storytelling made every corridor feel alive and dangerous. Half-Life did not just set the gold standard for FPS games, it birthed Counter-Strike, inspired a modding revolution, and proved that silence can be far more iconic than dialogue. Ocarina of Time. The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time is the game that made countless kids believe an ocarina was the coolest instrument on Earth. Created in 1998, you play as Link and set out to stop Ganondorf, but the real breakthrough was how the game fused exploration, combat, and puzzles with cinematic flair. Z-targeting revolutionized 3D swordplay, time travel gave the story emotional weight, and Epona turned open fields into your playground. Each dungeon felt distinct, every melody felt unforgettable, and the world begged to be explored. Ocarina did not just raise the bar for Zelda, it redefined what video games could be, cementing itself as one of the all-time greats. If you think this list was wild already, just wait until you see our top 10. Tekken 3. Tekken 3 is the fighter that made everybody's thumbs blister and some friendships implode. Released in 1997, it did not just continue Namco's hit series, it redefined what a 3D fighter could actually be. Adding the sidestepping mechanic added depth, juggles made combos lethal, and the roster exploded with icons like Jin, Hwoarang, and Xiaoyu. The PlayStation port threw in Tekken Force and Tekken Ball, because why not have beach volleyball with fists? Selling over 8 million copies, it became a PlayStation legend. Fast, fluid, and endlessly competitive, Tekken 3 did not just dominate living rooms, it crowned itself king of the arcade and living room brawls alike. Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger hit the SNES in 1995 like a bolt of lightning across gaming's history. Built by Square's dream team of RPG royalty, it fused Final Fantasy's polish, Dragon Quest's charm, and Akira Toriyama's iconic art into one time-bending epic. Players were not just grinding levels, they were also rewriting history, unlocking multiple endings, and tackling character-driven side quests that made the world feel more alive. Its active time battle system felt revolutionary, fast yet strategic, and then there's Mitsuda's soundtrack, equal parts soaring and haunting, that cemented every emotional beat. Chrono Trigger didn't just raise the bar for RPGs, it kinda set the standard. EarthBound. EarthBound was not an average RPG either. It was a suburban fever dream where baseball bats beat aliens and ATMs doubled as quest hubs. You played as Ness and friends, trekking across Eagle Land to stop the incomprehensible nightmare that is Gigas. Instead of castles and dragons, you fought taxis, barf monsters, and cultists obsessed with the color blue. Its quirky humor and rolling HP meter made combat tense but playful, while Keiichi Suzuki's soundtrack swung from goofy to haunting. Though a sales flop in the West, its cult following turned it into one of gaming's most beloved weird classics. SimCity 2000. SimCity 2000 took city building to obsessive heights, letting you terraform, budget, and disaster-proof every square inch. From arcologies launching into space to UFO attacks and nuclear meltdowns, nothing was really off-limits. Isometric streets hid subways, water pipes, and secrets like Neil Gaiman essays in libraries. Players juggled taxes, power plants, and urban decay while reading hilarious in-game newspapers that mocked their own mismanagement. Music set a moody Blade Runner-esque tone, and custom scenarios let chaos reign in real or fictional disasters. This was not just a game, it was a simulator for control freaks, aspiring urban planners, and anybody who secretly enjoys watching cities burn. Doom. Doom was not just a game, it was the demon-slaying, BFG-wielding, headphone-melting frenzy that defined shooters. You're Doom Guy, a silent marine blasting through Phobos, Deimos, and Hell itself. Chainsaw in one hand, rocket launcher in the other, id Software's 2.5D engine made every corridor terrifying, every cyber demon fight a heart-pounding sprint. Multiplayer deathmatch was born, mods thrived, and speedrunners laughed at your mistakes. Music fused metal and techno, enemies looked like nightmares in clay, and the shareware release crashed networks. Minimal story, maximum chaos, Doom was pure, unrelenting action, and the game that proved computers could host your most violent fantasies. Star Fox. Star Fox blasts into the Lylat system, piloting Fox McCloud's R-Wing while dodging lasers, asteroids, and your own teammates' complaints. Peppy, Falco, and Slippy tag along, whining when ignored and begging for rescue like you owe them your life. The Super FX chip flexes 3D polygonal graphics that made 1993 gamers' jaws hit the floor, while branching routes and brutal bosses keep every run tense. Nintendo and Argonaut somehow made foxes, birds, and toads look heroic in space combat, proving that a fox with a jetpack can absolutely make saving the galaxy look stylish, way before Guardians of the Galaxy tried the same. Mega Man X. Mega Man X zips into the SNES era with style, giving classic Mega Man a serious upgrade. You play as X, a shiny new Reploid with a dash, wall jump, and armor upgrades, fighting rogue mavericks in a world where robots can think, feel, and occasionally go full evil overlord. Partner Zero has your back, sometimes exploding spectacularly to remind you heroism hurts. 8 stages, 8 bosses, and a wardrobe of weapons stolen from your enemies to keep the action fresh. It's fast, it's flashy, and it proves Capcom could make robots cool without turning them into cookie-cutter cannon fodder. Wolfenstein 3D. Wolfenstein 3D practically invented the first-person shooter as we know it today. Play as BJ Blazkowicz storming Nazi bunkers, shooting soldiers, dogs, and eventually a robot Hitler. id Software's 1992 masterpiece used a speedy 2.5D engine, hand-drawn sprites, and secret-filled maze-like levels. Released on shareware, it popularized fast, violent action on PCs and proved a small team could make a huge impact. With its iconic music, over-the-top gore, and tight gameplay, Wolfenstein 3D set the template for Doom and countless shooters after it. It's brutal, exhilarating, and historically significant. Shooting Nazis has never been this fun. Mortal Kombat. In 1992, Mortal Kombat gave us more than just another fighting game. It gave us a cultural explosion of punches, kicks, and utterly grotesque fatalities. 7 iconic characters, from Liu Kang to Scorpion, battle across Earthrealm to stop Outworld's conquest. Digitized sprites, unique 5-button controls, and Test Your Might minigames made it revolutionary. Its over-the-top violence sparked controversy and helped create the ESRB, forever changing how games are rated. Johnny Cage's splits, Sub-Zero's ice powers, and Goro's forearm domination became legendary. From arcade to SNES and beyond, Mortal Kombat defined 90s gaming, spawning sequels, comics, and a lasting pop culture legacy. Get over here. Street Fighter II. In 1991, Street Fighter II kicked its way onto the scene. It uppercut the fighting game genre into worldwide fame. Ryu, Ken, Chun-Li, Guile, and 5 other fighters battle through M. Bison's global tournament with iconic special moves, combos, and bonus stages, smashing cars for extra points. Its 6-button layout, distinct characters, and accidental combo system rewrote how we fight in games, inspiring decades of head-to-head arcade battles and EVO tournaments. SNES, arcade, or wherever you played, Street Fighter II was a phenomenon, selling millions and embedding itself into pop culture. From Hadoukens to spinning bird kicks, it's the game that made World Warrior legendary. So, who's your pick for the top spot? Let's see if we agree. F-Zero. In 1990, F-Zero blasted SNES players into the year 2560 with lightning-fast hovercar races that redefined futuristic racing. Pick Captain Falcon, Dr. Stewart, Pico, or Samurai Goro, dodge slip zones, magnets, and rivals, and boost with superjets and jump plates across 15 adrenaline-pumping tracks. Mode 7 graphics made the pseudo-3D action feel insane for home consoles, while tight controls rewarded precision and memorization. No multiplayer, sure, a shame, but the solo Grand Prix challenge was punishing enough. F-Zero didn't just race, it inspired an entire genre, proving Nintendo could launch the SNES with style, speed, and a little bit of that Falcon Punch flair. The Secret of Monkey Island. In 1990, The Secret of Monkey Island launched players into a pirate comedy where dying is optional, but laughing is mandatory. You play Guybrush Threepwood, an awkward wannabe pirate, solving puzzles, insulting foes in sword duels, and chasing ghost pirate LeChuck across Melee and Monkey Island. LucasArts' Scum engine made point-and-click a breeze, while hand-drawn backgrounds, MIDI pirate reggae, and sharp dialogue delivered cinematic flair. The game's humor, clever writing, and almost impossible death design set a standard for adventure games. Remade in 2009 with voice acting and upgraded visuals, it remains a swashbuckling classic, proof that pirates and punchlines can age like fine rum. Super Mario World. In the year 1990, Super Mario World set the SNES ablaze, sending Mario and Luigi through Dinosaur Land to rescue Princess Peach from Bowser and his Koopalings. Introducing Yoshi, a rideable enemy-chomping dino, and power-ups like the Cape Feather, it blended precise platforming with playful exploration. With 96 exits, secret star roads, and hidden Yoshis, the game rewarded curiosity and skill. Koji Kondo's music reimagined familiar Mario tunes, while Miyamoto and Tezuka maximized the SNES's hardware for smooth scrolling, vibrant colors, and inventive level design. Selling over 20 million copies, it's not just a classic, it's also the blueprint for every side-scrolling Mario adventure that followed. And that is every one of the iconic games that shaped the 90s, a decade of cartridges, arcades, and endless high scores. So, which one's your favorite? And which one do you think we left out? Drop it in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe and ring the bell for more gaming throwbacks. We'll see you in the next video.